Hey Jeff, a couple things I wanted to run by you. One is to show you a new toy I got. It's a benzomatic propane torch. This is pretty cool. It uses MAP Pro fuel, like propane, yellow container. But the neat thing about this, you screw the head on. It's got a lock-unlock position on it. You go to the unlock and simply press the button. Got an igniter built right into it. This is awesome. Anyway, I just came across that. Thought I'd show you. The other thing I have a question. Not necessarily a question, but something I'd like to run by you. We've got this little test set up. This is for my Tide station. This is kind of a replica of what I've got at the dock. It's a little Raspberry Pi. Let me get focus here on it. In any case, this thing, what it does is it measures the tide pressure. Right now I have a PVC tube. My test setup, I'm using a copper tube and a balloon, as you can see, just to provide a little bit of pressure back into the system. Okay. Now with this test setup, I inflated this balloon. I hooked it up to the sensor. This is the little pressure sensor. It's a Honeywell pressure sensor back here. Where is it? There it is right there. Okay, not an expensive device. I think it's like 30 bucks. This whole setup costs less than 100 bucks. Anyway, by measuring the pressure changes as a result of the tide, I can measure the height of the tide. But this is just a test setup to test the integrity of my connections here. What I did is copper tubing. I sweated on a little nipple on the end of it, so I soldered it on using the torch. And I want to make sure it's leak proof, okay? So I put this balloon on the end, I inflated the balloon, and now I'm monitoring the pressure that I'm reading through the sensor, okay? And that's over here on my display. So it should be pretty much straight line. As you can see, this is a previous test over here, and this is the current test up here, all right? And the pressure reading, if you see the tide level is equating to 5.19 feet with the pressure that I have in there. Now, on the previous test, what happened, I expected that as this balloon deflates, that the pressure would drop, but that's not the case. As the balloon deflates, and you can see it on this line up here, the pressure remains fairly constant. Right at the end, there's a little uptick, and then when all the pressure goes out of the balloon, and then it drops back down. So what this means to me is this, rather than containing a varying pressure according to the amount of air that's in the balloon, what's happening is it's fairly constant pressure as the balloon deflates. That's kind of non-intuitive. It kind of goes against what I thought it would be, until at the very end there's just a slight increase and then a diminishment of the pressure. So what am I not seeing here about this test setup? Right, this is the best I can come up with. Anyway, something to think about, and not a big deal, of course, but you know, maybe a way to spend a few minutes, pass the time. Okay, I'm going to go off now, and I'll see if I can post this thing to you somehow.